Welcome to the Words Over Ice show. Have a drink, whether glass, mug, or styrofoam. Give my best up to Ray, he's the right host. And Matt James on the sarcastic tightrope. Then there's Jason, full of opinions. Co-host with brains and the boldest intentions. Ali, that's the man making profits. Greg and Duke join us talking controversial topics. You know it get real in these interviews. We talk about it all when we bring in news. Rolling with the punches, a 1-2 combo. The Words Over Ice show. Let's have a convo.
I didn't know it counts you down now. Did you see that?
No, you don't have to.
It's like 3, 2. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Zencaster leveled up.
They did, man. They got video and everything. Welcome to the show, Wes. Good to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yep. So, Wes, we were just talking a little bit. Wes is a old buddy of mine from San Diego that I met playing ball. I was explaining to him that I also met Jason playing basketball as well. So, proof that sports can really bring people together. And here we all are on a podcast. Going to shoot the shit for a little bit and talk about whatever comes to mind. So,
no pun intended on shoot the shit, huh?
I don't have my drum sound effects anymore that Zencaster did.
Oh, they did you dirty.
Yeah.
Ba-doom-doom.
So what's up, Wes, man? How you been? What you been up to? I see you on social media. I see you always got these workout challenges, and you look like you're getting fit, man. Look like you're pretty toned from the last time I saw you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. How have I been? It's been a grind, honestly, man. I've learned a lot, worked a lot, and I think I've grown mentally, but also emotionally, just through the process of kind of navigating through this sort of new industry that we're kind of breaking into and sort of establishing with health, sports, and fitness. There's a lot of different types of trainings, different type of organizations or groups, and on how you could go about athletic performance training, nutrition, fitness, and all this other stuff. But what we're doing is sort of bringing a whole new, different perspective, and that's the science of behavior modification into training in athletic performance.
Yeah, which is interesting, man. And glad we're having you on because that's kind of what I want to talk about, just the evolution of everything in general, right? So in this scenario, it's sports, fitness, right? I used to be. I haven't coached in a while, but I used to coach basketball, youth in particular. You always trying to find new ways to kind of like integrate into your systems and how to get kids to perform. But I was listening to one of your other podcasts, and you were talking about how in practice, and especially in basketball, how in practice, majority of the time the kids are just pretty much standing around doing nothing, right? Not really working on their skills. Mm-hmm. And you guys really bring a new like mindset to how you really track and just help players get better. So you want to talk about that a little bit for us? Yeah.
So, there was a dissertation done, and it would do me a disservice. I try to mispronounce the name, but they were looking at efficiency with coaching and coaching styles within practice. And so one thing that they sort of identified early within this research project was, per hour, if we're talking about time on task with skill improvement, running drills, or just getting better, out of an hour, they're probably spending anywhere from 15 to 19 minutes really working on a certain skill, right? But if you think about that, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, right? They're there for 3 hours, they're training, they're practicing, they're running, whatever. But you really got to take into consideration, the time for instruction, the time that they wait in line, the time where, the coach has to then repeat instructions and go over plays again or go over the instructions again and then give feedback to certain players there's a lot of time wasted. Not necessarily wasted, but you're not spending any of that time. Around. Yeah, just kind of waiting. And then, you got water breaks and stuff like that. And so, if we're looking at, right, comparing those two durations of time, right? So we're looking at, let's just say 15 minutes of actual, time on task or time at performance. Within that same 15 minutes, the approach that we're bringing is it's the science of precision training, where we're looking at fluency training and training to essentially get the skill to where it's performed automatic, to where it's second nature, right? So if we're running
it's reactionary.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're all athletes. We're all athletes here, right? So we definitely, if you played in any organized sports, there's a lot of that, right? You stand in a big line, especially. I actually pulled my kid from a basketball training camp, pretty highly regarded one in San Diego. I won't say any names, but I took it. I took him.
You know who you are, fuckers. Anyway, move on.
I took him to a few of their basketball training camps, and I just saw a lot of that, right? And this is actually what spun me to do my own training in San Diego. I used to do it in Chicago, but that's what made me do it in San Diego, because I saw this, and I saw where all these kids and these parents were taking their kids. Excuse me. And it's a lot of standing around.
Only God.
It's a lot of him and only him.
All right, continue. Sorry.
No, but it's a lot of that. Exactly that, man. It's a lot of standing around. It's a lot of it's a college kid, right? So it's some dude that's 19, 20 years old, right? And I'm sure they're talented. I'm sure they mean well, but not fully immersed in the program, not giving it their all. They're not spending time with each individual kid. They tell you what to do. They say, dribble through these cones and then right-handed layup, and go back in the back of the line and do the same thing. And you get maybe two to three reps before that 5-minute time period is up, because they time everything, right? We're going to do this drill for 5 minutes. We're going to do this one for 7 minutes, because we got to squeeze it into an hour or whatever the time frame is. And I saw that, and I was sitting there watching them like, these kids, this does nothing. This does absolutely nothing. It's just a waste of money.
Yep.
So I started I kind of spun it off. I'm like, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to break it down into smaller groups. Like the max amount of kids I would take in one group was 6, just so I can spend more individual time doing it. So, I mean, 100%. Like, and Jay, I know you played sports. I don't know how it is in the college game. Jay, you played college. I don't know if it's the same way, but I know we had a lot of that. We had a lot of that in even high school.
Exactly. And I'll say this, as Wes was talking, in your curriculum, a beautiful thing that you can do that we didn't get forced on us when we went to college, because like in high school I got shunned for many reasons. You can go back to the last season or 2 seasons or whatever it was and hear about the things that we went through coming up out here. At this point in the career of a basketball player, while there's certain groups as far as point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, and centers, you can take them upstairs and make them watch tape, video of your season of the what do they call it? The region that you're in, or the teams that you're playing, for lack of a better term. Your division, exactly. You can go ahead and have them watch tape of how these teams are reacting to your plays. Tape is everything. And that is not something that is pushed for players to go ahead and watch. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of practicing. There's a lot of calisthenics. There's a lot of conditioning. But tape is not pushed like it should be. If you're going to win your division, you have to watch your division's plays and watch how they work. There's a thing about LeBron James that I respect, amongst the many things, because I think that's one of the greatest players to ever do it. And I'm an old head. So he's not the greatest, but he's one of the greatest. Kobe Bryant.
I think he bitched out this last playoff run, but that's neither here nor there. Continue.
No. You know what? I'm glad that you said.
I think he went. No, I think he went Hollywood.
I'm glad that you said that. Is that we're going to talk about that at the very end. But there's a person called Kobe Bryant that would watch tape so vigilant, like he watched that so religiously, that he would be able, and LeBron did it too, where they'd be like, LeBron's calling out their plays while they're getting ready to run. And Rajon Rondo would watch the plays and call them out too. So when Rajon Rondo was with LeBron, they were killing. Tape is everything. When you're watching your competitors, it's just as valuable as running your sets, your calisthenics, as your drills. It's everything.
Yeah, no, I think one thing I want to add to that was watching that Mike Tyson documentary.
Oh my gosh,
he was doing the same thing.
Yes,
you know, when he was younger, he said, "Oh, that's all he did was just watch film on all the different boxers and who he looked up to." So
yes,
your point is spot on, man. You definitely have to, you know, review film to your opponent, but also watch yourself too.
Wes, watch Canelo. And you can go ahead and we can talk about this later. We're going to do this this conversation again. We're going to talk about this. Canelo, he'll throw his right hand up. He'll snap his right hand out and straighten out his arm, and then he'll hit you with a left hook, and it gets him every time. I watched this guy. My father was a Golden Gloves champion. I know boxing. I'm watching this guy. I'm like, yo, he snaps that right arm out every time, and they bite for it, and then he drops him with the left. It'll be a left straight. It'll be a left hook. Whatever the hand it is that he snaps his hand out, he gets them. Tape is everything. You watch your opponent, they do the same shit. Canelo's a beast. Canelo's a fucking beast.
Not to get too far off topic, because Wes, I do want to circle back to
I know.
But this is a good one.
I'm sorry.
Actually, let me add one more thing with that. Can I add one more thing?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So just to kind of piggyback off that, what she was saying about Canelo, right? So let me ask you this question. Do you think that, I guess a better question would be for that is, how do you stop it? Because I think all of his opponents are watching tape as well, and they still can't do anything about it.
The thing is, Canelo's one of the
anomalies.
I think he's underappreciated because he's one of the few fighters that I've really seen elevate his game from fight to fight. He's a different fighter each fight. So I think it's difficult for people to watch tape of him because the Canelo you're watching is not the Canelo you're facing. That's a good point. He watches himself so much that he notices the flaws and the weaknesses and holes in his game, and he addresses them, and he comes back stronger. Like if you really watch probably the last 4 or 5 Canelo fights, he's a different fighter in each of those fights.
And then on top of that, his ass is giving back to the community because he's honing Ryan Garcia, which is, I never seen no. I'm not, my hat's off to him because I like to throw hands. This kid has got it. For real. Ray can attest to this shit. We're not going to talk about it on record, but Ryan Garcia is the truth. He is the welterweight just monster. But Canelo, like Ray said, Canelo, and it translates into basketball. When you see tape and you get a hold of plays and runs, but then also that goes back to what you're doing, Wes, in practice. If there's more tape, then you can watch what you're doing and you can adjust when the defense switches and starts to adjust to what you're doing. Then you throw in 2 alternate plays. Once you see, it's like an audible. But basketball is different than football. Basketball is poetry in motion. Football is like, I got a canvas, I'm going to paint this shit and it's done,
Yeah, and one thing I want to add on top of that we're doing is not only are we looking at the film, but we're collecting data.
Exactly. Yes.
These on these type of performances, to where the type of charting and analysis that we are able to do, we're able to actually predict performance or predict the rate of when that move is going to occur or when the play is going to occur.
Yes.
So that then allows, right, whoever we're working with to give those sort of kind of predictive measures or results that can for sure better the team.
That's the fascinating thing to me, right? So I'm a big, I need to know why. I like studying the psychology of human beings, the psychology behind.
Yeah, you do, you fucker.
Like, I'm a big observer, and and through this whole lockdown, I've been reading a lot of books just about different just drive and motivation and what motivates people and all kinds of different things, and that's why like it's interesting what your company's doing, because I know you've explained it to me, but I still don't understand it, if I'm being honest. It's an evolution, and you look at it everywhere. It's from the workplace to the way people work out, to the way people even interact, to the way people think, to the way people are motivated, to the way people are preparing for sports. Everything is just like everything is evolving in such a rapid pace, and what you guys are doing is like you said, the data you put behind it. Again, I'll let you speak to this because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but from what I understand, the data you put behind it, the way you can predict things is just crazy to me. Like, so like I don't know if you can give away all your secrets or not, but
don't give
giving away
shit,
too
bro.
much.
Don't say nothing, man. Nah, Wes, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, Wes. Shut up. Don't say nothing.
The interesting part is that everything that we do in our secret sauce is all evidence-based, peer-reviewed literature that's backed by, I want to say, 50 to 80 years. So everything that we're doing is all public records, all published. It's all public knowledge, right? You can pull all of these articles, you can pull all of these sort of research database to determine our procedures and what we're doing. So it's no secret sauce, right? There's just really nothing hidden in it. We're just using the science of applied behavior analysis to help train. So we're bringing that type of science into our training facilities to work with our athletes. So, and the way we do that is, right, it's all about fluency training, right? So when we talk about fluency training, we're talking about how fast can you do something, right? Because if you're able to do it quickly, right, that infers that you are a master of that skill, right? So if you could do a quicker crossover than someone else, you would say, Ray, correct, right? That person probably has a better crossover than you.
You would think, yeah.
But generally speaking, right, like whoever it is, right, if I'm able to, complete a task faster than you, if I'm able to put a puzzle together faster than you, right, or quicker than the next person, they will show that there is some sort of fluency hierarchy, that there's one person that is better than the other. So essentially, that's the direction that we're going in by measuring the rate of responses using acceleration. What the acceleration does, it allows us to take the skills and throw those on a chart that then will allow us to draw out our trend lines. And then based on those trend lines, we're able to then plot future rates or future occurrences of that skill.
An outcome, if you will. Like, I guess you would say an occurrence of, the word I'm looking for is like making it happen. Like base to base, every time that you try to make this move, you have 100% accuracy that you're actually using. You're not using it inefficiently, but you're using it efficiently to make a move, to shift the defense, to shift the offense, to make the actual situation that you're trying to make an outcome happen be effective.
So how would just from my simple mind? So if we were in a gym,
simple Jack out here,
yeah.
If we're in a gym,
he
right?
He plays that role a lot. It's all good.
This applies to individual, or does it work better for individual or team, or can you do it?
You can do it with both team or the individuals, and you can also do this with coaches too.
Yes.
Okay. So if I hire you, Wes, and I say, hey, I'm trying to become a better basketball player. So essentially, what do you come in? You film, you do whatever data collecting it is you got to do, and you tell me where the strengths in my game are.
Yes.
Is that essentially what you're doing?
He assesses your weaknesses and your positives, your strengths.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll sort of assess, what level that you're on, and then right, determine where you need to be. And then we'll set that goal from there. So if you are, let's say you're, JV, and you say, hey, I want to, make varsity next year, then what we'll do is we'll collect data on varsity players, and we may even collect data on, your top elite data, D1 players, and say, okay, we'll collect that data and we'll say, okay, this is how well they shoot, this is how well they dribble, this is how well they pass, this is blah, 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 whatever. And then compare that to your data. This is how well you shoot, well you pass, and then we will do that fluency training up until that level, and then maybe a little bit more in regards to the start of the training plan.
Right.
From there, in our individual specific practices, we're just doing timed fluency drills. So we're looking at, how many can you make in a minute? Right. And then we'll set that, and then we'll set goals, and then from there, just kind of build from there with your, accuracy. And then from there, we will scale out the sort of practice environment to then simulate the best game time performance that we can. Right. And so that you're not practicing, when you're practicing, right, with us, you're not just practicing, during pickup or just in an open gym. You're actually practicing game time level.
Like realistic performance.
Yeah.
And then and if they're not made out for you, tell them, you got a lot of energy and you're very athletic. You just need to go play tennis. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you can move very well, but you're just ass at basketball. So how about we take your athleticism and just turn it somewhere else where you can make a lot of money and be very good? Like, that's the other part of sports, is like a lot of people get caught up and they get mad because they don't make it onto what they want to. But then it's like, you got to take your athleticism and change it into something else.
It's so crazy, man.
It's like, a hard thing to talk about.
If you think about it, dude, I don't know where sports are going to be in 15 years. It's crazy how talented people are getting. Because you think about it, when we were younger, we didn't. I mean, I'm sure this stuff existed. Yeah, we didn't have access to it the way we do now.
Yeah, right? Sports medicine's been the way it's been for a while.
Sure, but the level of athlete, the level of training, like I feel, I don't know if we're just seeing it more, but I feel like kids are just getting way more serious about sports way earlier, and they just have so many more resources at their fingertips.
You think so?
They're yeah.
I mean, look at these kids nowadays, and I'm like, yo, they're fucking babies. They're mad small compared to the way we were. They're mad.
I'm not saying small. I'm not saying they're mentally stronger or anything.
No,
like
physically
that,
they're mad small. Like, these are fucking.
I don't
children.
know, man. You got 7'2" people playing point guard in the NBA. Like, that's crazy.
No,
right?
I know that's the league though. I'm talking about high school. Like,
well, I'm just talking kids. Like the specimens that are coming out. Like, we're evolving.
No, I hear you.
Steph Curry shooting from half court when, what was it, 50 whatever years ago? We didn't even have a 3-point line, right? So,
well, we can't.
I think something that's. Sorry, go ahead. So,
no, you're good. Go ahead. You had something. Go for it.
I was going to say, to respond to that, Ray, I think that a lot of it has to do with health and nutrition, education, and the exposure that we have to that now. Because whereas before, right, when we was coming out of high school, there was no Instagram showing us different workouts and showing us different meal plans, stuff like that. And so, exactly. So we were much smaller, within our generation. But now, man, I think it's like, just because it's so worldwide now and it's so easily accessible, I think that's given them the kind of upper hand on that, starting earlier with training and athleticism.
When we were in high school, Instagram was a hand to hand for some weed. You know what I'm saying? No, we had Penny Hardaway, 6'8" point guard. It was there. It just wasn't sensationalized like it is now. In high school, we had like a dude named Vito. I don't know if he was. You know what? I'm not even gonna like shit on the community that might have some mental issues.
Well, we had one guy named Vito.
Yo, no, we had a bunch of tall motherfuckers. This dude was like 6'8", and like, I don't know if he could make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but the motherfucker was on the basketball team. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been there, but I feel like these kids nowadays are mad small compared to us. Like, like the average height for me when I was coming out for point guard was like 6'2", 6'3". That's like my height. Nowadays, yeah, you got the higher rate, but they're like an anomaly. You got these AAU teams; they all look like babies.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I don't have the
AAU teams. Can we say that the AAU teams? Can we say that they're not like trees? They're not trees. They're a bunch of babies, and they talk a lot of shit in their ass. Like I'm not gonna. Well,
here's the thing: whoever's bigger, whoever's bigger is bigger. I don't have the data to back me up here, but. but what I'm saying is,
but you like that hand-to-hand analogy, right? That Instagram analogy, right? That shit was fire. I made that up on the spot, by the way, for anybody listening. Anyway, back to basketball.
I don't think you can deny that. It's not just basketball. It's pretty much anything in general, right?
I can't football is crazy though. Wow.
Yeah, you can't deny the evolution of the talent that's going on. Just because, like what Wes was saying, right? You come out of school and you hop on Instagram and you have shooting workouts or foot speed workouts
it's
or
everywhere.
Nutrition and
everywhere.
It's at your fingertips. We didn't have that before.
Fuck no. Go play at the playground.
I used to go like my practice, and I didn't have any coaches to guide me, right? So my practice was go in a gym and shoot around.
Yes.
Right. But now, like to your point earlier, Wes, it's not just get a ball and dribble and shoot from wherever, because that's what a lot of us would do. That's what I would do. But now there's more purposeful training. There's drills, like if you want to get better, these are the situations. These are the drills you need to do that
in game training.
Right. I didn't know all that unless you had a good mentor, or a good coach, or a good basketball mind, or whatever.
Also, Ray, don't forget where you were
at. You
didn't
didn't really know that.
Ray, don't forget where you came up. When you came up out here, they weren't trying to help you. AAU was a thing, but they weren't trying to help you.
I played AAU ball.
I get it, but I'm saying
with a few pros.
I'll leave it at that. Well,
I didn't get much time, but I was on the team.
Boom. That's a beautiful thing, though. You got the experience. I couldn't afford AAU for shit. I was in the gym every day, but never could afford AAU. And God bless. And God bless, because nowadays it's like everybody's in AAU. You know, it's like whatever. That dude Julian. Oh my God.
Who I don't.
There's this kid named. There's this super.
Is that Vito's friend?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, there's this super small kid named Julian. Whatever. He talks the most shit, and he's so ass. He got to wipe himself with toilet paper twice a day, dude. He's so trash.
But therein lies my point. Like social media can blow you up now,
yes,
right?
It does.
And if you clip. Right, so I'm sure a lot of people, Wes, with you, you video record everyone. Everybody likes that, right? Everyone likes to watch tape of themselves. Everyone's putting together mixtapes or scouting tapes or whatever. So you just take the best clips of what you do, and now you look like a superstar, right? Yes. People are watching snippets, the best of you. They're not watching the other 80% of the time you're turning the ball over or whatever it is you're doing. But it's crazy, just the phenomenon that it's just like everywhere. And before U.S. used to be the dominant, right? The dominant in basketball and most every sport
in general.
Besides soccer, right?
Yeah.
It's not
outside
the case
of
anymore.
Football. Yeah.
It's really not the case anymore. Like basketball in particular is so worldwide, and the talent is just so like you can't go to the Euro League, and before it's like, oh, they're soft, they don't play defense. Well, NBA is the same way now, right? So it's like you can't. There's not that big of a difference, and the playing level, like the playing field, is starting to level out. Just because I think there's so much technology and resources at our hand.
You can't play defense anymore without getting a fucking tech or just fouling out because it's gotten so soft.
That's true as well.
That's the other part. Is like this: the basketball is not physical like it used to be.
Yeah.
You can't even like disrespect. Like,
true.
I wouldn't even say disrespect. You can't even like what do you want to call it? I'm lost for words today. You can't even like rebuttal a referee without getting attacked now. You can't say shit to attack and not get
because
attacked.
it's become entertainment. So it's they try to keep the game moving, they keep it high flying, high scoring, whatever's exciting. Yeah.
There was this Instagram post that I saw. It was funny as hell. There was AI back in like 2000, right? him and this referee were going back and forth, and the referee told him, "You can't bring the crowd down." He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Bring the crowd down?" He's like, "You can't say anything or reject what we're telling you is right on the court and bring the crowd down." And he's like, "Yo, you're here to referee the game, not the fucking crowd." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna do what I gotta do." And he's like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of my face." You know, like that shit is so like the game has gotten really soft. Like you can't do shit physical. We remember the 80s. Detroit didn't give a fuck. New York didn't give a fuck. Indiana didn't give a shit. Yo, they went in the stands on motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like the game was totally different. And now it's I think that it's gotten really soft.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's definitely become. It's got to be more like aesthetically pleasing, right? So it's money, ratings, it's a business, right? Yeah, of course.
Hey Wes, what level do you teach or coach at?
Man, all of them. We do youth. We've worked with some high school. So we worked with the high school team out in St. Louis.
Okay.
We worked with the gymnast. He was youth out in Maryland.
Oh shit! You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
Oh yeah. We have we have a gym and a facility out in DC. We're getting ready to establish. We actually established partnership. We're launching a camp in July out in Ontario for the week of basketball camp and volleyball training camp in New Orleans. And then we're getting ready to establish some training facility or kind of movement out in Houston, basketball gym as well. So. Yeah, man, we train, man. We just like whoever wants to play, whoever wants to come in and get better. We're here.
What would you say? What would you say is your favorite level to instruct and train and just give knowledge to?
Honestly, man, college.
Okay.
College. Yeah, I was working with this one basketball athlete. Where was he? I want to say Boston. I don't remember. I forgot where he's from. But he was a point guard, good height, good size, had a good head on him and everything. When I would, watch his film and go over the data, go over the charts, go over some, different procedures and recommendations and stuff. Based on what his coaches was asking of him. The feedback was easy. The conversations, flowed, and it's pretty cool. I mean, because I'm still kind of connected, with the youth. So it was good to kind of talk about current events and stuff like that with them, and kind of chit chat and build that kind of relationship as well.
Right. Well, when you're coaching, it goes deeper than just basketball. There's a personal connection there. And I appreciate that you're doing that because I can tell you honestly, I never got that throughout my entire career, if you will say it's a career, until I got out of college and went and started trying out for this semi-pro league with my homie. And this coach was much more personal than any coach I had ever had.
Yeah.
But we stood a common ground. That was the difference. I fully believe that it was like on some real life shit. So we as basketball players appreciate you going that length and giving out your personal energy and not just making them feel like a number or a client.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. And one thing I do want to add this as well. Talking about just the age group that I prefer to work with and train, it is the college kids, but also I do as well. And we don't have to get into any of this more detail, but I do work with kids with autism as well, and we do direct behavior therapy.
Right. Motor sensory and things of that nature.
Yeah. So I do that as well. And I enjoy you talking about like the most fun with, I thoroughly enjoy the ages. I thoroughly enjoy between 5 and 7. Man, those kids are just a blast.
That's awesome, man. Congrats and God bless you. Thank you. You have
problem.
Honestly, I can't even say that I understand the impact that you're making, but I can tell you that the impact you're making goes beyond whatever we even are recollecting, because it goes a lot further in life than we're going to realize. You know, these kids are going to have this for the rest of their life. You know?
Yeah.
Ever tell you guys a story? I used to drive a bus for autistic kids.
No, I never fucking knew that. Why didn't you tell me this shit? What the fuck? Yo, come on, man. How you gonna hide shit? I thought we were cool, bro. You gonna just hide like good ass details? What the fuck?
It was
beep beep. Come on, man.
It was during the summer. It was very short lived. I was late often. I was young. I was irresponsible.
That's the Puerto Rican in you, bro.
No, but to your point, Wes, I used to drive, and I would pick them up from their individual houses, and I would drive them to school. But I had so much fun on the way there, on the way back with those kids. Mm-hmm. It was a great experience. I wish I was a little bit more responsible, but I was always I got complaints. I had the job for like a month. But I was maybe 18, 19 at the time. I was kind of just doing it during the summer.
What?
Yeah.
This is before we met.
No. I think we knew each other, but I was just doing it like it wasn't. I would do it in the morning, and then whatever time it was. 7:30 in the morning.
Was this when you were Mexican to me before you were Puerto Rican?
This is pre-surgery.
I was like, whatever.
This is pre-transitional surgery.
Hey, Wes, I was an asshole. I'm still an asshole. I just know how to like hide it.
That's funny.
I love everybody. Fuck it, as long as you're not an asshole like me. It's cool.
Yeah, but it was a great experience. I just couldn't hold on to the job. I was always late. But it was,
man. That's awesome.
To your point, it was a great experience. Great kids to work with. And then backtracking a little bit, right? So Jay, you kind of touched on it. Like you had a coach that really got to you on a personal level and wasn't kind of barking orders, wasn't doing that old 20th century kind of algorithmic, train of thought of let's dangle a carrot and there's rewards for good behavior and then there's punishments for bad behavior, which is the way a lot of the 20th century went, right?
That's
the way
scary training. That's fucked up.
And that lends itself to, we could branch off into a whole bunch of different topics, into education, the way the education system is, the way it was, the way jobs were. You kind of think, I get the image in my head of the screaming boss, right? But things have shifted. Right, things are, and they're shifting more and more. And to your point, people are starting to use, kind of the right brain a little bit more, be a little bit more heuristic, and in which they're trying to find solutions for themselves, and just open, kind of just want the freedom to be creative, right, and want to be heard, and a little bit more intrinsic, right? And it's just a shift in mindset, and it's in work too, right? Even in my full-time job, the way we're being taught is night and day different from what we were taught even just 15 years ago, right? Where you would dangle that carrot in front of someone and you were paid for performance. Mm-hmm. That's shown, like, statistically, it actually demotivates people.
It does. It makes people scared. There's nothing worse than being in the mindset where, when you're on the court, right? This is just a personal experience. When you're out playing, you make a mistake and you're worried you're going to get yanked because you made one mistake. That is the worst fucking feeling. Let a person be out there and just make a mistake, whether it's the job, whether it's the game, whether it's whatever. How are we supposed to get better if we don't make one simple mistake? But if you're going to make that mistake, make that shit big. Go for it. Just do it. And it sucks because so many people get stifled and shut down in even wanting to try because they're so worried about if they fail, they're going to have a consequence. That's going to get them shut down.
Yeah, and it's just the evolution of human, right? We started off, our motivation was just to survive. Yeah. In the beginning, right? To survive, find food, hunt, whatever you had to do. And you fast forward to the Industrial Revolution with the steam engines and all that. And then you had Frederick Taylor, he's the one who kind of started the system of having rewards for good behavior, but then punishing bad behavior. And that kind of just carried us through. And we're now starting to shift out of that to just almost repeat what I just said, right? I feel like humans are almost like your phone, like your iPhone, right? Every month or two, there's an update, right? Yeah. I mean, humans, society, we're like operating systems, on a phone. We need to get updated and we need to rewrite our software. And I think that's starting to happen. And a lot of what you're doing, Wes, is kind of lending to that thought, that thought pattern and the things that are going on. So super interesting to me.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that rant, but sounded good.
Wherever you went exactly.
No, it was the idea that, our society now has the ability to, kind of focus on other things besides your, let me get up and just go to work, or let me, make sure I can put food on the table. Like, our culture and not everybody, right? Because there's still a lot of poverty and stuff like that. But
of course,
more people are out of poverty and out of that sort of poverty state. And so it's allowing them to, be more creative, think more, do different things and kind of explore, especially travel. Man, all these new millennials now, man, all they do is go to Bali and
come on, man.
And,
you look at
whatever.
You look at Instagram. You swear to God, everybody's got a passport that they got to get a new one because it's full of them. Come on,
like when I was growing up, I ain't hear about nobody leaving my state.
Right, right. You went to the water park at the end of the county. Oh shit, son!
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I kind of serves your point, Ray, is that people are able to do different things now and sort of explore and be more creative, and you start to see this evolution happen. Not only physically, but
we feel more liberated too, though. Like
you have to, right? Even if you're strictly talking like workforce, you have to use that right time because a lot of the computer and a lot of the AI stuff is taking over the kind of the left brain work, right?
Everything.
Oh man, let's not get started on AI, dude. Good luck, man. Dude, do you know that like?
No, West. No, West. Save that. We're gonna have. You just confirmed in another episode. You just confirmed it. We're gonna talk about that.
Well, I want to hear this.
Yeah, okay, bet. Well, we're gonna write down some points and have another conversation.
Oh man, it's just a quick point, but it's just the idea of the dependency of technology, man.
Yeah,
and especially what COVID did for that. So there's a lot more virtual jobs, a lot more virtual telehealth opportunities for career, like full-on careers, to where people never have to leave their home. Yep. That's a whole nother topic to talk about with, social anxiety, depression, all these mental stuff. That's another whole discussion. But what I'm talking about right now is the idea that we're so dependent upon this Ethernet, right? So, right. If there's any shortage, any down, anything like that, there's a lot of people that's going to be screwed.
Done, man.
In the simplest form, put down your phone and try to get to a destination.
Outside of your normal. Well, yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
I'll say this. I thank God for my parents. Because you give me a map and I know where I'm going. I know how to judge all that shit. But that's just me.
I think we would figure it out, right? Because we're kind of that in between.
We're a whole different generation.
We're that in between kind of age, right? We kind of started before this happened and we're kind of walking through it. But even now, man, I don't even know. I know the name of the street I live on. I don't know the street over. Like, I don't know the names of any streets.
That's funny.
Hey,
you just don't need to.
Speaking
you don't need to
to
know
what
it
Wes
anymore.
was saying, you could text the doctor your symptoms, and they'll come back to you with XYZ, ABC of what it could be, and then you got to text them back and tell them more specifics. It's like you don't even have to be in person.
No, you don't. I just did that.
Oh my God!
I prefer that.
You said that shit worked though. So what are you knocking it for?
It works. It does work. No. For small stuff. It works. But I mean, you can go into the whole conspiracy theory of COVID was a way to kind of catapult us into that lifestyle.
Conspiracy theory is offensive. It's critical thinking.
All right.
It's offensive.
Right brain thinking. Let's call it that.
Critical thinking believes that. That's funny.
But I mean, when there, in situations like this, there's always blood in the water, and there's always industries. There's people who went gangbusters during COVID, right? A lot of businesses suffered, a lot of them. But yeah, Bezos in particular, a lot of businesses really went gangbusters during this, and this also lent, like you were saying, Wes, it taught people in companies that, hey, we don't need all these people in these buildings.
Nope.
Right? We don't need to pay all this money for this office space. We're finding out that they're more, just as, if not more effective from their own home.
Yep.
And that saves so much on your bottom line because you don't have to rent out the properties anymore.
There's no brick and mortar. There's no fucking personal payments.
Listen, I work for a big bank, and I take a lot of what's happening in the industry by how banks look at things, right? Especially because I'm on the lending side of things, on the commercial side. So they start to tighten the screws on different aspects, different areas. And when this hit, they really just said, hey, we are not going to lend on any retail brick and mortar spaces right now. We don't think it's a thing of the future. I'm not going to we'll do it for like a year or two term. But outside of that, we don't think this is an industry that's going to be around in the long haul, or at least, in a major way.
Face-to-face banking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's all about, it's pretty much, it sounds like, just trying to cut costs and save as much as possible to be able to make as much as possible.
Why not?
Critically thinking, wise.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I see what you did there.
Money is power, right? And if you look at our, economy now, we really didn't take a huge hit, as what a lot of people were expecting. Like, yeah, we for sure took a hit, right? Mm-hmm. But our economy still kind of stabilized a little bit, and you have to, and then you have to ask yourselves, right? How so? The IT and the tech companies carried our asses through this pandemic, hands down, bar none, right? So we're talking about, right, Zoom, all these, different audio, all the different tech apps, everything, right? That is what's carrying our economy and is allowing, space and time for these, for the other industries to then kind of build back up. And then, right, if you think about that, right, what are the implications of that, right? Money is power. So if we have our tech industries that's really carrying us, that means they're bringing in tons. If we're thinking stocks wise, definitely look into investing in that direction. But at the same time, those who are trying to still avoid and delay or, whatever with technology and getting on social media and doing all these different things, like, you're just going to get left behind in the Stone Age. Right. Technology is the future.
Exactly.
Just like, yeah.
And that's
all situational too, where your demographic comes from and what your pay grade is. Because if you can't afford to have anything that can have FaceTime or Zoom, like these kids that didn't have computers to go to school when they were forced to do distance learning, they got left in the dirt, and it is what it is. It's been the way that it is, and I'm not happy about it, but we've all, I think at this point in life, the three of us, I'm not going to speak for anybody else but myself, we've all been at the bottom at some point and felt some sort of despair. But you push through it, and you're going to make it as long as you have, one, a base and a family support, and two, you have an opportunity to rebound. There's some people that don't. There's people that just got lost in the wayside of this thing, and it's sad. But like you were saying, the economy didn't take what we thought the hit was going to be, because there was more that were able to order out on their Uber Eats, or there was more that were able to catch the curve and get their canned goods or do this, that, and the other. But there was a lot of people that were fucked up, and it's crazy to see where they're at now. And it goes back to just like what we were talking about in the beginning of this episode of sports. There's kids that are super talented, but they don't have the means to pay for AAU. They don't have the means to get.
Yeah, they're not marketed correctly.
Exactly,
or blasted out there.
They don't have the means to have any gear to play the sport. They don't have any means to get to the tryout, because their parents, they got it. I had a friend that had to drop out of high school to pay for his mother's house. And he was one of the best basketball players that I've ever seen in my life. And I won't mention his name because it's not even necessary, because the man is super successful and blessed and beyond all expectations of the rut that the society tried to put him in. The man superseded and excelled, and it's beautiful. But you've seen it. I know you've seen it, Wes, and I know you've seen it, Ray. We all came up, well, you and I came up in the same area. We watched a lot of people that before this like fallout were doing bad. You know what I mean? When things seemed like they were great. It's a crazy world we live in, because all it takes is 1 week. It takes 1 week for shit to fall apart.
Yeah, and that literally...
We'll be on that show, Naked and Afraid. All of us just be out there struggling.
For real, it could happen. Like, it really could. And that's the thing that keeps me humble. It's like, yeah, you think you got it good. Okay, wait until they decide to say, fuck it, because they can do that. It is what it is. And that's critically thinking. That's kind of conspiracy thinking.
You got to ride the wave, man. You got to ride it. Like you said, Wes. You got to adapt, right? You got to adapt to what's going on. Yeah. You got to find ways to reinvent yourself. Like we talked about earlier. You got to find ways to upgrade, right? As society upgrades its hardware and its software, and you got to do the same. Otherwise, you will get left behind.
You'll be outdated and obsolete.
Yep. Just like the iPhone 5 that people still have. And like, why doesn't this shit work? Well, they move way past
Motherfucker,
that.
you still on 3G, bro. There's a whole nother level to this shit.
And I'm not a big phone person. Like, nope. I had the 6 forever. I have the 8 now.
That's what I got.
And I think that's even starting to mess up.
It is, and I refuse to get rid of it.
But you kind of, again,
forced.
Like to Wes's point, if you deny the movement, you get left behind.
Let's just blow that shit up. Fuck it.
or there's
anarchy. Fuck it. Anarchy is the way. Oh, you think you can shoot a 3? Not if I blow this hoop up. Fuck your hoop. I'm gonna kick it down.
On that note, I think that's a good stopping point.
I'm getting way too militant now.
Hey Wes, I appreciate you jumping on.
Yes.
Good talking to you. I think there's obviously a lot more to explore. If you ever want to jump back on, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Anytime you guys want to have me, I'll be there. If it's next week, the week after, tomorrow, let me know. I love it. This was really fun. I appreciate you guys having me. I had a blast. Thank you guys.
Same here.
You think that was cool?
All right, that's a wrap. Thanks again, Wes, for joining. If you guys want to follow Wes, I'm going to have all his information, social media websites, all that stuff in the show notes, so go check that out. Also, get your questions in. We are going to do a Q&A in the coming episodes, the next 2 to 3, something like that. So get your questions in. We look forward to reading those, and thanks again for listening.